Bang, bang. What's up, guys? Lunch money time. While Wall Street's trying to get rich, the rest of us just trying to get our lunch money right. I'm here, the beautiful, and intelligent Polina Marinova, who has on a leather sleeveless shirt. Can we talk about the fashion choices?
Nope.
A leather sleeveless shirt. Didn't even know they made
it.
those, but you got black on, so you're following the dress code. I appreciate it. Don't forget, Lunch Money is now sponsored by BlockFi. BlockFi.com/lunchmoney. Go and take out a US dollar loan against your crypto. They will give you a $2,500 bonus. You can also use their interest-bearing account, 6.8%. Oh, just kidding, 8.6% interest on an interest-bearing account. It's a no-brainer. Go deposit crypto or your digital dollars. All right, let's get into the fun.
Do you know why I wore this today?
Why did you wear a black sleeveless leather shirt?
To show you exactly what I think that Jeff Bezos will wear to the hearing. Guns out.
Let's go. What's going on with Hertz?
What is it called? Guns out.
Suns out, guns out.
Guns out.
Or as some people say, suns out, thighs out.
No, that's different.
No, it's not. Suns out, thighs out.
No,
little short shorts going on.
It doesn't rhyme.
All
okay.
Right.
So Hertz, remember our friendly company Hertz that went bankrupt?
Bankrupt Hertz.
Bankrupt Hertz has suspended its plan to sell up to $500 million in shares after the SEC voiced concern about the deal and launched a review. What the hell are they doing?
Well, if you're Hertz and you're sitting there and you're trying to protect your shareholders and pay off your debt, and everyone's bidding up your stock and it's exploding, right, then you sit there and you say, hey, if we sell stock into the market right now, we could raise a bunch of money. They went, a court approved it, a judge approved it, that they could do it. But it's capitalizing on idiot retail investors. And so the SEC said, whoa, time out. Let's review this.
So does that mean that Hertz can technically get out of bankruptcy because of this?
Well, the way bankruptcy works is it doesn't mean the company goes away.
Right.
Bankruptcy is just protection. Hey, it's literally calling a timeout with creditors so that they can reorganize it. Usually the equity gets wiped out. There's new owners that come in and then they go and they rebuild the company with all the assets. What they're trying to do is this is like a very unique situation where people are buying a bankrupt stock in the public markets like this, and they're trying to capitalize it. But the SEC said, no, we're not. Let me rephrase. They didn't say, no, we're not going to let you do it. They said, we're going to look at this deeper. And that has caused them to suspend the stock sale.
Got it.
Rent freeze.
Okay. So stop it. Hold on.
Uh-oh. Did you mess up?
No, I hit a paywall again. So New York City is basically trying to, after the pandemic, trying to freeze rent for 2 million tenants for an entire year.
Meaning that they don't have to pay their rent, or that it's not going to go up?
I think it's not going to go up.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, I tend to think that in many cases, you should let the free market run. The problem is that you've got all this manipulation going on in the market. And so therefore, landlords are just jacking up prices. I mean, you see this in San Francisco, you see this in New York, where there's kind of these rent is controlled. So you can only go up so much each year, and it protects people, right? Yeah. And so in this case, like if they're going to say, hey, no one can raise their rents, well, who it really screws is it screws the landlords, but it protects people.
God, I look really good today. No, so some tenant groups did that bother you? I like that.
No.
Some tenant groups had called for a rent decrease, but the board has not approved a rent decrease in its more than 50-year history. Yeah, I feel like that's not going to happen in New York City.
No. And again, by the way, I hate this whole idea of like, we're going to use regulation and laws to manipulate markets and help one group while we screw over another group, right? Like, Look, at the end of the day, you signed a contract that says, I'm going to rent this place and here's what I'm going to do. If you lose your job and all that stuff, it's horrible. Like it is so painful, right? And obviously it causes problems. But at the same time, the landlord has expenses to pay to the bank, and all, we've gone over this a million times. So I think you just got to be careful, and what you got to do is you've got to protect both sides of the transaction, but do it with as little manipulation in the market as possible.
Agree.
Fair. Nikita, I think that's what the TV show is called. I was trying to remember. La Femme Nikita, I think, is the name of the TV show. She's a woman who's like a Jackie Chan wannabe, I think, if I remember correctly, and she wears a leather shirt. La Femme Nikita, if I remember correctly. I could be saying that wrong, but go ahead. It was on USA. It used to be on. There was Suits, La Femme Nikita, a couple other shows.
If my computer wasn't about to die, I would look it up. So the Justice Department proposed the rollback of legal protections that online platforms have enjoyed for more than 2 decades in an effort to make tech companies more responsible in how they police content. That means that the department's changes are designed to make things like Facebook and Twitter and whatever address illicit and harmful content on their site or conduct on their site.
I don't think that they should be in the business of doing that.
Okay, but hold on. Can I just add a caveat?
Sure.
You know how Twitter just came out with Twitter audio, which we're about to talk about?
Yeah.
Okay, actually, I'll save it.
But do you think that the platform should be policing this stuff?
Honestly, at this point, I don't even know.
Here's where I draw the line. If it's illegal, if it's child trafficking, drugs, actual violence, not the threat of violence, not the insinuation of violence, but actually like I shoot you on and the video goes on the internet, whatever, there should be some level of, hey, what you are about to engage in is illegal. Hey, this, blah, blah, whatever, but they should still allow it. It should still be on there. And the whole thing is you do not want to get in a world where Mark Zuckerberg, Jack Dorsey, Sundar, whoever is making the decisions about what we have access to from an information standpoint. I definitely
don't want them to be the arbiters of truth, but but
it's not just truth.
Or, policing me. But it's just tough. Like when I log on to Twitter, I don't want to see somebody inciting violence or killing somebody else. Like that's not what I use these platforms for. So there has to be some sort of But just because you don't want it doesn't mean that they shouldn't allow it, right? Somebody can post it somewhere else. You don't have to look at it. You can block that person if it comes across your feed, whatever. It goes back to the idea of we should never infringe on one person's civil rights, right? Or the civil liberties. Like it is not worth stopping a crime or doing anything for the infringement of our rights. And ultimately, we have the right to free speech. We have the right to see this stuff. We have to get out of the world of the population looking to tech companies or the government or whoever to protect us. Like you're in charge of your content diet. If you don't want to see stuff, don't go on the internet. Well, yeah, it's not that easy. There's a lot of nuance, and I think you're making it a little bit black and white, in my opinion, but it's not like that. Okay.
Well, let me ask one question. If you were running one of the tech companies, where would you draw the line in terms of what you would be comfortable policing and where you would say
basically what like the freedom of speech allows, and incitement of violence is not covered by freedom of speech, by the way.
Incitement of violence. Incitement, I don't think that's the right word. But inciting violence. Like
if we are in a crowded theater and I scream fire, that is not protected under freedom of speech.
Okay, but if somebody says I think we should kill terrorists, is that not inciting violence?
I hate you. I don't know.
No, I generally don't know, right? But like my point is that there's
a core opinion on this.
Of course, but like that's part of this is how where do you draw the line?
I would strictly follow whatever has been passed and agreed to by a court.
Okay, I don't think it's that easy, but
I don't think anything's easy.
I generally we're in alignment. The content police. By the way, we should give them a better name than content police.
Okay.
Like if we have Space Force, we should have like content force. Go ahead. What's going on with Twitter audio?
So Twitter is trying to add voice messages to tweets, allowing you to record up to 140 seconds of audio. Get it? Because 140 seconds or 140 characters. Okay, but hold on. I have two things. One, I read a newsletter today and it was really funny. Somebody said, everyone is saying, hey, Twitter, please give us the option to edit tweets. And then they're like, actually, we're just going to give you Twitter audio instead. And then the second thing is, speaking of content police, if Twitter is going to start policing or moderating content, isn't this going to make it much harder for them to moderate that content?
One, it'll make it harder. Two, I generally think that this was a good idea from Twitter. What I don't know is, will it be successful over the long term? You and I have been talking about like the whole idea of when you're on Twitter, you're very kind of text driven, the consumption mode that you're in. And now all of a sudden you've got to switch to be audio as well. which is a little different. The second thing is somebody that we were recently talking to brought up the idea of like, it's actually a double opt-in of content consumption, meaning that when you post the audio, it sits on my feed, but I can't actually hear it unless I click on it to hear it. Whereas a tweet could just go through my feed and I see it whether I wanted to or not. So I think that's interesting. But look, audio is coming. We're seeing audio explode all over the place, everything from Clubhouse to this to some other companies that we're aware of, podcast, obviously. So for a major platform to get into audio makes sense. It's just a question of, what does that look like? And then, I am holding out for the audio only feed. I think that there's going to be a day where they just say, hey, press play. And then it's all of the audio tweets. You can just listen.
That could be interesting.
All right. What's going on with Lyft?
Okay. So ride sharing company Lyft is promising to switch to 100% electric vehicles by 2030. Now, they're saying this just because they're trying to force the hand of regulators and legislators and whatever. But, I mean, that's a big promise. I do not make promises lightly. That's pretty bold.
So, one, this is a great idea in terms of if they can do it. Two, this would require an immense lift from multiple players, not just Lyft, but obviously car manufacturers, lawmakers, local cities and states, and regulators, all this kind of stuff. Three is, I'm with you that when people make promises like this, the one thing I wish that they would do?
What? I
wish that they would they said what they're going to do, and they set a timeline. So they're making a projection or a promise.
In a specific...
I wish that they would add a penalty.
Ooh.
A self-imposed penalty. So they would say something like, we're going to go fully electric by 2030, by January 1st, 2030. If we do not, we will donate $100 million to whatever.
Oh, I love that.
Right. And so basically what it does is like, now you got real skin in the game. Yeah, you got like accountability. Now, by the way, it's going to charity. A lot of people say, well, why don't you just donate the money anyways? But it's less about like a regulation driven penalty. And it's more about saying, we're serious about this. And by the way, there is a quote unquote cost if we don't hit this. So we get the benefit of all the press right now and kind of get people excited. But if we don't hit it, there's going to be a penalty. Right.
Not a bad idea. We should try doing that with you. When you say, I promise to put my dishes away when you don't do it, what could the penalty be?
I should have to sit on the couch by myself and watch TV.
You have to wear this shirt.
No, I should have to sit on the couch all by myself and watch TV.
No, that's
all right. What's going on with Kim Kardashian? Speaking of TV.
Kim Kardashian West signed a deal with Spotify, an exclusive podcast deal. People were speculating that it could be about criminal justice reform because that's what she's been focusing on lately. They do not think it's as large as...
How much is she getting paid? That's what I want to know. How much is she getting paid?
So it's not likely to be worth more than $100 million, but it is unclear what it is.
Why would she ever get paid $100 million?
Because she's Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian is has a smaller audience than Joe Rogan when it comes to audio and video platforms. She is way bigger on social media, but in long form content, Joe Rogan has a bigger audience.
But people have been watching the Kardashians since like 12 years ago.
Okay, how many people watch the Kardashians? I bet you Joe Rogan, his episodes are bigger.
How many people?
See, this is what people don't realize is the people on YouTube, there are certain people who have way, way bigger audiences.
1.3 million total viewers every Sunday night, I think, though.
Joe Rogan gets over 1 million views on every single interview he posts on YouTube. Just the video. I would say they're
kind of equal.
They're not equal at all. That's not including all the audio downloads he gets, all this stuff. Get out of here. Joe Rogan is bigger than the Kardashians. Fact, check it. Okay, I got the data. Show me the receipts.
But globally, when you ask, her name has more recognition than Joe Rogan.
In the media?
No, like regular people. Like my cousin in Bulgaria knows Kim Kardashian. He does not know Joe Rogan.
You're looking at anecdotally. What I'm telling you is that, because that's all driven by social media, what I'm telling you is that what matters for what she's trying to do right here, Joe Rogan is way bigger.
Okay, it doesn't matter, but she's still... So what does this say about Spotify that they keep trying to get these big names to start podcasts or move their podcasts?
It's the only thing that they can do to try to do what they want to do, which is they want to be the go-to place for audio. They had Daniel Ek went on the Invest Like the Best podcast with Patrick O'Shaughnessy, and he basically was like, look, we were doing music and we were like, wait, audio is the same. Like they compete with each other, podcast and music, because now some people don't listen to music on their commute. They actually go and
I know.
listen to podcasts.
And do you remember when Spotify made that big play in podcasts a few years ago? They acquired Gimlet for, I believe, $300 million, and also Anchor. And there was one more, starts with a P.
You want to hear my hot take?
What?
Spotify's doing everything that's good for them. This is horrible for open podcast networks, making everything exclusive like this. It's the smart business move for Spotify. I ultimately think it will not prove to be valuable.
Why?
Because I think that Spotify is trying to pull off a Microsoft. They're trying to create this closed-end system where all the content is within their ecosystem, and Joe Rogan isn't on other platforms, all this kind of stuff. But I always believe that the openness wins. So open internet wins, open currency wins,
I agree,
open audio
But as a listener, I don't quite know that there's a huge difference between me having to go on Apple Podcasts or YouTube versus Spotify.
There is a big difference because they're going to make you pay in some cases. So are you going to get, like, do you have Spotify?
Yeah, on my phone.
Do you use it?
I don't pay for it now.
Yeah, but do you use it?
Yeah.
You do? For what?
Listen to music.
Okay, where do you listen to podcasts?
Apple.
Apple. Okay, are you going to switch all of your listening on podcasts to Spotify?
If they have really good ones. I'm platform agnostic. I'm all about the quality. If you moved your podcast to Spotify, I would not only listen, but I would pay.
It's on Spotify.
Oh yeah.
For free.
Okay, I don't listen to it there. I just listen to you live do it here.
Literally, Daniel Eck is looking for people like you. You're the target, because he's gonna trick you into paying for Spotify.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. When
I see you, Daniel Eck.
When Kim Kardashian starts her podcast, you're gonna
I don't care about Kim Kardashian. But we did watch that Kim Kardashian documentary about her criminal justice
it's pretty cool.
issues. Yeah.
By the way, Joe Rogan's bigger than Kim Kardashian. Market, I got the receipts, don't worry.
Paulina's bigger than Pomp.
Fact. You got the receipts. Fact. If I wasn't on the show one day, it would be the best performing show we've ever had. All right, guys, that's it for Lunch Money today. While Washington's trying to get rich, the rest of us just trying to get our lunch money right. Polina will hopefully be here tomorrow.
Be kind to your friends. Bang, bang. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Lunch Money as much as we did.
And don't forget, Lunch Money is now sponsored by BlockFi, so go check them out. There's a link in the description that you can click on. I'm an investor, a user, and a huge fan. What?
You're a bigger fan of BlockFi than you are of me?
BlockFi is my second favorite thing in the world behind Polina. They've got 3 products. They can give you a US dollar loan. You can earn up to 8.6% interest on an interest-bearing account, or you can buy and sell cryptocurrencies on their crypto exchange. I personally use the interest-bearing account. There's not very many places where you'll find up to 8.6% interest on a deposit in an interest-bearing account. Go do your own research. There's risk associated, but 8.6% is pretty compelling. So click on the link in the description, say thanks to the folks at BlockFi, subscribe to our channel, like the video, annoy Polina in the comments, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
And be kind to your friends.